Oh, welcome to another episode of Local Music Shapes Culture. I'm Alison Christoff, and today we are interviewing Devin Kerr, who's the drummer of Slur, and
Hello.
also has his own rap project on the side called Draggin Knuckles. It's kind of funny. It's like the same initials as like your name, you know?
Yeah, that was like intentional.
Yeah,
Completely
I
intentional.
wondered.
Oh, it's Devin Kerr, by the way.
Oh, is that how you pronounce
Yeah.
it?
That's I'm pretty sure it's
The
like
more you know.
German or something
Oh,
like that.
really?
But yeah.
Okay, I was thinking like Miranda Kerr. You know what I mean?
Oh, is
The,
that
like
how
the
that's
model.
pronounced?
Yeah.
I was
I'm
completely
pretty
wrong.
sure, unless I've been saying it wrong for
I've been
years.
completely wrong about it if that's the case. Like, all of a sudden I
Okay,
think,
but you're
oh.
familiar with Miranda
Yeah,
Kerr.
yeah. No,
She's
just by
very
looking at the
beautiful.
name and thinking that we
Yeah,
had the
yeah,
same.
that's funny.
Who knows?
Yeah. Um, but yeah, we're going to be talking to him about his involvement in the local music scene here in Indianapolis and his experience in bands and playing instruments. But first of all, how long have you like been playing drums or like been interested in music in general?
Well, I probably started when I was like maybe like 8 years old. Like my older cousin played drums,
Mm-hmm.
and I was always kind of interested in it around that time. But I would just kind of beat around on it if I was
Yeah.
around them.
So like no official lessons.
Not at the time, and then my brother was always kind of geared towards it musically. He always wanted was playing guitar and trying to sing and everything, and then he wanted to start a band probably around
Oh,
the end of
really?
like sixth grade, and
Oh, cool.
I kind of wanted to be involved with it and everything. So I was like, well, I was always into drums, so I decided to actually like pursue it and go into it.
Yeah.
So that was probably about the summer before seventh grade. I went into that, started taking lessons from somebody who has actually kind of been around like the Indianapolis
Oh,
hardcore
really? So
scene,
you're
like
from Indianapolis?
well, I'm from Lebanon originally,
Oh, okay.
but yeah, there was some older people from that area that went on to kind of do some stuff in the Indianapolis music scene back in the
Okay.
day.
Cool.
Yeah, so I was taught by a lot of people in that whole area. Some of them are people that I know going back to shows now,
Mm-hmm.
but just having that to start out with, I started playing drums in this.
In Slur.
No, this was a band I was in with my
Oh,
brother,
right, right.
growing up. Yeah,
From
so
sixth grade. That's.
well, it
I wish I
started.
was doing that at sixth
Yeah, it
grade.
started from like seventh grade going on, and then we kind of evolved. Probably at the start of high school, I kind of went on to doing vocals, and it was me
Oh.
on vocals and my twin brother on guitar. We were called paraplegians, and we kind of started as like Christian metalcore, like
Oh,
all that
really?
hot topic kind of stuff, and then
That's funny.
yeah, and then over time we just kind of got more serious, like kind of started getting more into like the convergy kind of style of stuff,
Yeah.
and getting more into actual hardcore stuff too. I've always kind of been around it because my dad was really into punk stuff growing
Oh,
up.
really? That's
Yes,
cool.
so he put us onto a
Good to
lot.
start early on punk.
Yeah, yeah, he put us onto a lot of stuff like Black Flag and
Hell
Minor
yeah.
Threat and Bad Brains like pretty early on. So
Cool.
that was definitely a good basis for that. But then kind of coming up when it was a lot of metal stuff going on too. It just kind of happened naturally over time, and we were doing that for a while, and then I started getting into rap stuff probably about closer to the end of high school, like midway through high school.
Mm-hmm. Just
Get
like started listening to hip hop or.
listening to it, and I got really into making beats for it too. I wanted to rap for a while, but I just had no like musical like inclination towards the musical style of it because it
Yeah.
just hadn't clicked with me yet. And then I found certain people that they would make their own beats from scratch, and it just kind of clicked that way. I was like, oh, I can find all kinds of synth
For
samples and
sure. I
sounds.
feel like that's something that's like so underrated is just like the influence of like having people around you that are doing the thing that you want to learn to do,
Yeah,
you know?
having that push, like that's what
Yeah,
I see a lot around
exactly.
here.
Like the community is so like because if you're just someone that's like in your bedroom and like, man, I really want to be in a band, but you don't like know anyone that's doing it, it's
Yeah.
like so much harder to achieve.
And I've talked to a lot of people around that have had that kind of, I guess, kind of hang up where it's like, I just don't
I've
really know.
had that hang up
Yeah,
before.
exactly. It's like, I
Yeah.
don't know how to get started, playing shows. And it's like, just come out and just hang out and be around them.
Exactly.
Like when I was doing this band with my brother, we were when we were actually playing the shows, we were playing with a lot of older kids. We were, probably about 15 going on 16 and playing in these house shows, doing that all the time. And then
Yeah.
when we started doing the rap stuff, we just all were a friend group doing that together. Basically, it was kind of how that took off. And then it's probably it was like right after we graduated from high school and we were 18, and then he passed away, my twin brother. He was like the guitarist and everything, and he kind of was the one that recorded all of our stuff with the rap stuff too early on.
Mm-hmm.
So from that point it was just kind of like me doing stuff by myself for the longest time.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear
No,
that.
that's okay. I mean, it's been a long time, but definitely a lot of time just trying to, figure it out on my own. That's, kind of where I felt like the rap stuff kind of came through for me a lot. Like it really gave me, kept me having an outlet to create, because I just hadn't really felt comfortable being in a band with somebody for a while.
Yeah,
And
after that
then,
happened.
yeah, and then I met
How
Ian.
long ago was that?
This was probably about 13 years ago. It was 2013, so it was right
Okay.
after we graduated. And then I, went to college, came back. I'd been working on my own music for a long time, but
Yeah.
then through Ian's brother, the guitarist of Slur, that's how I met Ian. And then we started playing music together in this backing band for this rapper around Fountain Square.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, then we found out we had a lot of musical, like,
With
interests
Ian?
in common. Yeah.
Oh,
So
cool.
then him and I started making, our own stuff, and then we
Yeah.
started living together for a little bit. And, then nothing was going on during the pandemic, and then everybody starts coming back out to shows again.
Yeah.
I'm like, Ian, we should start working on some stuff. And then I
Oh,
start
so Slur started with you and Ian?
Oh, well, not, I mean, kind of, but not necessarily. It was more Anthony and Sebastian, because
Okay.
Anthony and Sebastian had the idea to come up with the idea of Slur, because
Okay.
basically their idea of it originally was they wanted it to be like four piece essentially, but they wanted it to kind of be like an all black and brown band essentially, because like the Slur thing kind of being like tongue in cheek,
Yeah,
because
for sure.
it's like political in a sense, but at the same time it's like ha 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 Slur, like, so it's like kind of both going on. So Anthony and Sebastian had that idea and then reached out to Ian, but then they both knew that like I was playing with Ian so regularly, and they were already, we
Oh,
started to
so
become.
you were allowed to join the Slur
Yeah, I was gonna
band.
say I was just kind of like grandfathered in, I guess, to that whole thing. Got in on a technicality, basically. Like,
That's really funny.
yeah, I just
I
have to
like,
like,
yeah, I
just gotta
thought
watch
about the
my mouth, you
name.
know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
really like the name Slur. It's cool.
Yeah, it's always really funny the things
It's
we get
cool.
into when people are like, "Yeah, I really like Slur," and then some people are like, "I don't know how I feel about you saying that, just like brazenly, like out in the open like that."
That's so funny.
It's been a lot of funny situations because I feel like it's one of those types of bands where, most of the time, just showing somebody a band like, "Hey, have you checked this out?" They're like, "Yeah, yeah, I'll look it up, whatever." But I feel like if you're like, "Yeah, I've been really into the new
Slur.
Slur,"
Yeah,
they're
it's
like,
got
"What
that
did you
shock
just say?"
value.
They're like, "What'd you just say?" It's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, hang on!" Like, just show them. They're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I'll check that out. Actually, it's
Yeah,
pretty
it's
cool."
really clever in like that shock value factor for sure.
You sneak it
But
in,
yeah.
intrinsically, like.
Also, I just like when someone like takes a negative thing like a slur, obviously, and like
Mhm.
turns it into like a positive thing like a band and art, you know?
And that's kind of the thing is like, because Anthony and Sebastian, they're definitely like they're, but at the same time they also they take a kind of a political stance with it a lot too.
Mm-hmm.
Like we
How can you not when
we,
it's named Slur?
right,
I
like
guess you don't have to.
yeah, we could just have been like total shitheads, but we
Yeah.
like we have a couple songs, like one of them being on our first demo called Active Shooter, and it's kind of like a nod to situations like Breonna Taylor, and recently with like Sonia Massey and things like that, where the cops
Mm-hmm.
target black people,
Yeah.
especially like just like basically killing people in their own home, essentially, even in a situation where they were called and stuff like that. So just
Yeah.
kind of calling attention to stuff like that is, it, I wouldn't say it's something that's like, well, we try our hardest, but it's definitely something that's there for sure. Like we want people to know that that's something that we stand on as a band for
Yeah,
sure.
totally. Totally. That's cool. That's cool. Um Yeah. Talk about a little bit about, or I guess you have. Have you like been doing a lot with your rap stuff recently? I guess I haven't been keeping up.
Yeah, it's kind of the thing is I get in these spots where it's kind of writer's blockish a lot, and I feel like
Yeah,
having
for sure.
Slur, like being in Slur, I feel like I stay kind of busy with it, you know, and I kind of coast off that a little bit. But the thing with the solo music is that it's easier to work on by myself
Mm-hmm.
because it is my own project. But at the same time,
For sure.
there's more moving
There's
parts
more to
that go.
do. Yeah, see, that's the thing with bands is it's like, yeah, it's hard to like get everyone together, like
Mm-hmm.
at for a practice time or like whatever you'll have to do, like
Yeah.
making sure everyone's schedules are lining up for shows, whatever. But then like also what I love so much about being in bands is like you're just focusing on like one aspect of the
It
music.
comes together like as a group
Yeah,
project.
it's like not as much work.
Yeah, and if something doesn't come out like the way that you're hearing it in your head, it's like, oh well, you know, it's a group kind of effort, so it's
Right.
gonna go through that sort of process anyway. When it's all on you, it's like there's a lot more pressure. Like I really
Yeah.
want this to come out the way it's sounding up here,
Yeah,
or
for
else it's just
sure.
like, what was the point of even trying to get it out,
For sure. Yeah.
So I run into that a lot with this kind of thing because I make my own beats from scratch, so it's a lot of it is just trying to make sure everything comes together like basically paint hitting canvas the way that I'm envisioning it up here, and sometimes it just comes out super fast, super easy. I can just crank that out and put my lyrics out, and it's just like, oh, that
Yeah.
that came through so perfectly. Like I didn't even have to try. And then there's other times where I just spend months and months and months just listening to the same, like basically the way guitarists have riffs that they sit on for a
Yeah.
while. Like I have that with like beats I make. Like I'll start out with just like,
Really?
yeah, like the synth kind of like sample, like I'll have that in a loop, like the riff that I came up with, like
Mm-hmm.
with no drums or anything, and I'll just have it playing on repeat constantly as I
Like
kind
as
of,
you're doing other.
yeah, sometimes I kind of, I'll be like writing the lyrics to it. Other times I'm like just trying to figure out how I want the drum production to sound over it because it's really weird having that as an Achilles heel when it comes like I play drums
Yeah,
and
for
then I
sure.
make my own beats, but then trying to always get the drums to sound like how I'm writing them in my head, like to sound as good, on a
Oh,
produced
like
level.
yeah.
It's weird that I run into that as an
So
issue.
do you like use like samples from the computer when you're making the beats, or do you like sample your own kit and then make the beats on the computer, or is it just
Well, I do everything off my phone for the most part. So yeah, a
okay?
lot of it's just like, like drum packs that I've gotten
Yeah.
over time, but just kind of, punching them in, as it's kind
Yeah,
of like a
for
piano
sure.
roll kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I've been trying to mess with a little bit of that here and there, like having like electronic triggers on an actual kit, so
Oh,
I can
really?
actually pick up what I'm doing. Because
Yeah. Something that I thought was like crazy about like or that I learned when I joined Kaya Hero is that like on all of like Kaya Hero's released stuff, it's literally Armando like sampled their own kit and then put it in like GarageBand or some whatever Armando uses, I think GarageBand, and then like literally will like make the drum beats for the songs
oh,
using
really?
samples from their own kit. Yeah.
That's okay. That's actually pretty cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Honestly, they never like told me about
Yeah.
that much in depth.
You
Like,
can kind of hear it if you like listen for it, but it's not
hmm.
always immediately obvious. I
There,
mean, it's I didn't know, you know.
there's like some kind of thing where we recorded where I mean they kept like the track for the most part, but as kind of like a just in case thing, like they had me record like individual drum hits that have like
Oh, did
a
our
sound bank,
oh,
so that
cause
way
you
if you need to.
recorded with our did you record with
We
Armando?
haven't yet, but
Slur,
we're actually about to go in to do some stuff with Armando
Armando and
like pretty
Eston.
soon. Yeah, I can't remember what the
If you
name of the
guys need
studio is now.
recording, Armando and Eston,
Yeah, I
they're
was gonna
they're
say
doing it.
stuff sounded pretty good. We're going to them.
Reasonably priced.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's definitely working out for us. Like, and that's kind of the thing is we've sort of I guess kind of shopped around a little bit when it comes to recording stuff. Messing with
Mhm.
prices and how stuff sounds. We had for our first one we had Adam Skinner who does sound at Healer a lot. that turned out really well. And then for the second one, we had Bill Stack, who does a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
different recordings for people around the scene.
Yeah,
So,
I want to work with Bill sometime.
oh yeah, absolutely, and that man is a technician. If
Maybe I should interview him sometime.
that
That would
I
be a
think that
cool
would go very
interview.
well. He's that person. He
I
just
should write that
really
down.
cares about the craft of it all. Like he looks at it like, I don't want to say a robot because that just sounds too automated and stiff. Like it's like it's machine like the level of focus that he has on it,
Yeah.
but he
People that record primarily just have a distinct personality, I
yeah.
feel like.
But but it's like the thing is, he cares about keeping the human element in it. Is like he was really stressed the importance of that a lot. Which like
Mm-hmm.
somebody that is on that level of technical, like, well, I'm gonna make sure everything is lined up like this, kind of like that sort of thing. For them to still be able to step back from that and be like, well, I don't want it to sound like I, recorded it through a computer. You know what I mean? I
For
want it to
sure.
sound like you guys are actually
For
playing
sure.
it.
Especially when you're recording like digitally.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
that's like the thing is that he's using really sophisticated stuff for that and everything. But it's like we always like to kind of shop around and see what different styles are. So I'm really excited to see, what we pick up with Armando and you said
For
Eston, right,
sure.
too.
Yeah, we Pygmy Brains record. It was like the first time like I was like organizing a recording experience, but we recorded with like Gary
Hmm.
Martinez. I think his like recording stuff is called Warren Park Audio or Studio.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, it was a pretty good experience. Yeah,
Nice.
he just does it out of his house and.
I was gonna say it's always those little intimate, like in the house
Yeah,
kind of
isn't that
things.
the way it is with the DIY?
Bill was running wires through the floorboards in his house, like through this little panel in the wall, like down
Oh,
in the
really?
basement. It's just like all through the house, like
Damn.
yeah, very DIY, honestly.
Yeah, that's commitment.
Mm-hmm.
Shouts out DIY.
Shouts out DIY. That's why we're here. That's why we're doing this.
um, what kind of music do you like to listen to, like outside of the stuff you're making?
Well, I mean, that's the thing is that I feel like a lot of what I do make is kind of a reflection of what I like to listen to, but not
Yeah.
completely.
It's not that way with everybody.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
I'm not married to it. Like the thing with hardcore punk is that it's really easy for me to make, but the thing is, it's like I feel like there's a lot of times when people, they're like, oh, well, that guy, he's just in it as a hardcore band. Like, he's not really about hardcore or whatever. But the thing is, I grew
Who
up,
says that?
and just sometimes people are just kind of get that way. But the thing is, I grew up with it a lot. So, like, I would just kind of got exposed to it pretty early
Why are
on.
they saying that?
Uh, I don't know. Just sometimes I feel like people they get really into the subculture. You know what I mean? They get very passionate about it, which I think is an
Yes.
amazing thing.
There are some people that are, yeah, I know what
Sometimes
you
it
mean.
just gets to a point where it's like I feel like it's what's the best way to word it? It's like G checking somebody about like who do you know here types of like what hardcore bands do you listen
Like
to?
kind of like a gatekeepy vibe.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like to the level. I think sometimes people like overhype how much of an issue it can be, but at the
Yeah.
same time, like it's not like it's that comes from nowhere.
Yeah, it's
It's,
like for
it's
sure. It's like totally legit to feel that way.
yeah,
Sometimes I feel like it does come from people that don't seem like they've like tried to branch out at shows that much or like
yeah.
talk to a bunch of
I
different
haven't
people.
really had many problems like when I've
I haven't
gone to
either.
shows, but I've also like I've known people for like a long time, and like I said, I've listened to a lot of this stuff like for many years and stuff like that. Like growing up listening to like Ceremony and Trash Talk and like Ludax and Champion and all this kind of stuff, and but I also like a lot of metal. Like as far as like influences for what I make,
Mhm.
I love the band Converge, like
Mhm.
like a heavy kind of like right in that metal and hardcore kind of
Yeah, like
pocket.
early 2000s.
Yeah, and they still go strong too. Like, and their drummer is probably like one of the biggest influences on my style of drumming.
Oh
But
yeah.
I also came up with a lot of like jazz stuff, and like
Oh really?
the same dad that like he's so weird. Like he loves like harsh noise and like dark ambiance. Like
Man, I wish I had a dad with cool music taste
yeah,
like that.
like
Sorry, dad.
there's so many people that will like try to ask me. They'll be like some like really like edgy like kid at like a show. It's like oh, you ever heard of this band Throbbing Gristle? I'll be like, yeah, my dad likes,
Yeah, you can say that.
my dad's 67 years old and he loves Throbbing Gristle and like Nurses
Honestly,
and
Rainy,
stuff.
like my roommate, for anyone listening, like her dad
Yeah.
had her. I know that her music influence is, or her music taste is highly influenced by her dad's.
Yeah,
Like,
we've talked a lot about like having
really,
like similarities with that kind of thing, like
yeah. See,
having
my
dads
mom is
eclectic
just like,
stuff like that, and
yeah. I did not. My mom is just like hyper fixated on John Mellencamp.
oh
So,
yeah, see, that's my aunt. You know, she loves. I always got to call her Miss Mellencamp. Like, so, but then my
which
mom
is
was all
cute.
about Bay City Rollers and stuff. You know, so it's like I had like that kind of thing, kind of grounded me to like normalcy basically. But then everything on like my dad and cousin side was all like, my dad showed me punk stuff, but then a lot of jazz blues stuff too. My cousins showed me all the like the Nirvanas,
Yeah, so
things
you
like
got a
that.
variety of influence sources.
Yeah, definitely a lot of stuff trickled down like that. But I kind of took some time to just kind of figure out stuff that I like too. I like a lot of like math rocky kind of stuff
Oh
too.
yeah.
Some like Midwest emo stuff. Obviously being into the rap stuff, like I had like certain older friends showing me stuff, but a lot of that was really just me going down my own rabbit hole of stuff, like
Mm-hmm.
just finding all kinds of like cool stuff people were making on their own and everything like that. Lots of yeah, man, it's just mostly stuff like that, like
Oh yeah.
old screamo stuff, like
Yeah.
yeah, there's a lot of stuff that I can't play or make, but
Oh,
I'm
me too.
like I will literally listen to like R&B and like soul stuff. People won't even think of it, like be like, who put on Patrice Rushen? Be like, that's me. Like,
Yeah, that don't think that
I
you would
put
put
on
it
Forget
on.
Me Nots. You know what I mean? Like, cause it's like I can't necessarily like
Wait, is that
make
the song that's like
send
giving
you
you
forget
forget
me
me
nots
nots?
from burning to help you.
Yeah, I love that song.
No, yeah, that's my girl and everything. Like, so
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
love when I was like in college, I was like I was also like hyper fixated on like funk and disco for like 2 years
yeah.
straight.
And that's the thing, you get a lot of like, especially with you playing bass too, like you get a
Yeah.
lot of really cool like bass driving stuff from that, because
Yeah,
you
not
really,
sure how much I've implemented that
yeah, I
yet.
was gonna say it's like it's not something that I feel like it's something more like under the surface. Like you can't easily incorporate funk into like like hardcore or anything like
Right, because
that.
it's so fast. It's
Yeah,
like,
and there's like a certain kind of pulse to it. There's something about
yeah.
it. Like it's
But there's
very
always ways you can, be
yeah. There's
creative.
ways different elements like that can trickle down.
For
Like
sure.
Sebastian's other band, like CML, like
Yeah,
very traditional hardcore punk, but then
for
they'll have like
sure.
elements where because they're all like kind of a similar thing going on with Slur, where it's like it's all black and brown, like all like black and
Yeah.
Latino like hardcore and stuff like that. And so most of it is like it's very traditional kind of stuff, like reclaiming that as like part of the show, like yo, like we started a lot of that culture kind of shit. But then every now and then you'll have like some stuff like trickling down, like a certain beat they'll do will kind of like it'll be more like dancey kind of shit almost. Like it'd be like
Yeah,
once every blue moon I'll be like, okay, yeah, that's hard right there.
that's
That's like
cool.
that shit trickling down. It's like influences that you came up with kind of just manifesting like almost like subliminally later on. That's like a big part
Like
of
when you're writing the music.
That's like a big part of why I like messing with rap stuff too, because I don't sample a lot. A lot of it's mostly from scratch, but
Mm-hmm.
I love to when I can, because one, it's it's part of the culture. Like it's
For sure.
people have been doing that, but I think it was Earl Sweatshirt that put it best. It's like elements of like how you were raised, like what you were raised on, kind of
Yeah.
trickling down into it.
Yeah.
Like if you sample a lot, you can sample from old like cartoons, video games, like just find different soundscapes of things that you know kind of make you tick. Like, oh, that reminds me of when I was growing up and I saw this or this was around.
For
Just
sure.
being able to
Give your audience a taste.
yeah, being able to capture like just different aesthetics, like almost in a jar, almost being
Yeah,
able to like
that
shake it
is
up,
cool.
unleash it, like you know when the time comes for it, basically.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's cool. What are some of your favorite local bands here?
Oh, that's a good question. Well,
Sometimes I get tripped up when people ask me that. I'm like,
yeah, I mean,
what are any bands in this
because I'm
scene?
like, well, I mean, my thing is I don't want to like leave anybody out. Is the
Yeah,
thing,
that's
I'm
real.
really,
You
I'm
can
messing.
keep it a secret if
I,
you want
I mean,
to.
I'm messing with a lot of the Kai
Yeah.
Hair stuff. Like, I remember seeing y'all when, when Kai Hair was like first starting. I think it was like before you were in there too,
Yeah, yeah.
and just seeing the growth. That's one
I
of
know. I loved Kaya Hair before I joined it. When they
yeah.
asked me to join it, I was like, no way.
And it's like it seemed very young is the thing, and just
Right.
watching it kind of like grow into. That's like a big thing I've noticed with a lot of these bands is just watching them like blossom into.
Yeah.
It's
I
especially
love seeing kids in the scene,
yeah,
man.
like a lot of the people like the halfway house kids, the
Yeah,
situational
yeah,
hazard
for
kids,
sure.
the koi, like, conflict of
Yeah,
interest, like
yeah,
all of those.
Bloomington.
Yeah, a lot of them, like, especially coming up and showing the love to indie, all of like Chance's bands, like Velocity,
Yeah, for
Full
sure.
Stride, everything. Like, a lot of that is like, I mean, maybe not so much like Chance, because Chance has been doing stuff, but like, especially like a lot of
Yeah,
younger kids and stuff like that. Them coming out to
yeah.
shows and stuff, like, and just seeing that and being like, I want to be in a band now, and like, just,
Exactly. It's
yeah, like,
contagious.
it's like, I love seeing that. It's like not one of those things where I would ever be like, yo, we started that. It's one of those things where I'm like, oh, that's so cool. It's like, and I guess that's kind of ties back around to like the gatekeeping thing, because I feel like there's sometimes people that are like, man, all these bands are popping up and this and that. And it's like, how much of them really care? And I was like, well, they have to care, enough that they all started bands. Like, they wanted to keep
Right.
being involved in this. And
Like whether the new people care or
I mean, sometimes it's like some older people too, just like older people that are like, man, all these bands who keep popping up for the wrong reasons. It's like, I feel like you're
what,
upset for
yeah,
the
what
wrong
are those
reasons.
wrong reasons?
Yeah,
Like
it's like, I feel like you're upset for the wrong reasons. It's like, it's a lot of, like,
focus on
because
yourself, man.
yeah, I see a lot of I just see a lot of people, coming into these shows and like at a young age and like, just taking to it really fast, and that's been really cool to see, honestly. So like a lot of those bands were bands that I mentioned of like bands that I've been loving to see the growth of. As far as like trying to think of like who really like any band that June Smith is
Oh yeah,
any
June's
band that June
crazy.
Smith is in. Oh my
June is
god,
a crazy
she just
guitarist.
fucking just knows how to. She knows her way around six strings, basically.
Oh yeah.
Like because literally that's the thing is like I love all the hardcore stuff, but all the things that I like to listen to as far as like a vein of heavy music beyond just like hardcore punk, like your sludgy kind of stuff and your scrams kind of stuff and mathy, this all these different kind of tangents.
Mhm.
She covers those bases like in pretty much multiple like different projects. It'd be like Chickadee has like your deep heavy stuff, and then recently been doing some stuff like Stars Fade Out
Yeah,
Quietly with
yeah.
Armando, and that's been one of my favorites recently. Like I can't wait
Yeah.
to get stuff
For
recorded.
sure. I think they have something that's going to be released in early January. Stars fading out
I
quietly.
can't wait. Yeah, well, we're going. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's going up. Yeah,
Yeah, I hear so much about how it's like, man, how does June just crank out all of these riffs?
yeah.
Like,
Just so many different styles, and it reminds me of like what I love about working with Ian, because like Ian has a lot of really distinct styles too. We come from like when we met, we come from that background of like having like hip hop and like funk and soul stuff too. But then we start talking, it's like, so what do you like outside of that stuff? And he's like, I like a lot of like Death and Gojira and Mastodon. I'm like, why have we not been hanging out already? Like swapping bands, like
yeah, for
so then
sure.
we just have like multiple different like different outlets for like influence to just kind of pour in and like make it a little easier to kind of share ideas. Uh Random shout out to the band Idiot. I don't even know if people talk about their riffs. They got some cool riffs. Like I like
Yeah.
that band a lot. It's like a lot of ex people from Phoenix bodies. It's like Indiana OGs of heavy music.
Hell yeah.
Um, yeah, a lot of cool rap stuff. I'm always been a fan of like Sirius Black and like Draco from and just doing kind of both. Like Draco's got rap stuff going
Right.
on in Inner Peace, hardcore
Yeah, it's
stuff.
cool that he joined Inner Peace.
Yeah, I was gonna say right there, and then Flacco. Flacco's had a lot of experience doing both of those realms too.
Yeah.
So it's always been really cool to see, like even though it's not 100% what I wish it could be, more in
What do you
indie,
wish it could be
just to where there's more intersect. But the thing is, like,
between the different genres?
yeah, but the thing is with how it is in indie, I feel like we've been very blessed to have it as we are, because it's been very organic, I think, for the most part.
Yeah, I feel like when like I feel like I haven't been around the indie scene that long, like maybe like 4 years, but like I feel like it used to be the way people talk about it, it seems like it used to be smaller a bit, and maybe that's why there were more like mixed band bills.
Yeah, and it really started that way when I was growing up because the thing with like people like Sirius Black, like why
Mhm.
look at him as such a pivotal figure around like the music scene in India is because
Mhm.
he was around doing bands and stuff when it was hardcore bands, like when I was growing up as like a teenager. And it was like a lot of the mixed band stuff because all of those older kids were all friends and they just,
Mhm.
it's like, hey, all the music we make is like good anyway, so like let's just have a mixed bill. So things kind of started like that. It's still kind of hardcore dominant, but you have like some emo kind of bands in there, some math rock stuff, and then rap stuff in there, and
Yeah.
then Nick, Sirius Black, he kind of took off doing solo rap stuff, and I feel like a lot of hardcore bands, some of them got older, a lot of them split up, this and that, but I feel like probably around like 2014 to like 2018 maybe at least, like it was like a lot of like hip hop stuff and like rap stuff like going really really strong
Yeah.
in Fountain Square. And some people moved away, some people stopped doing stuff,
You feel like it's
COVID
gotten
hit.
smaller since?
A little bit, yeah. Like COVID really kind of hit stuff
I
pretty
remember
hard.
it seemed a little bit bigger when I first moved
Mm-hmm.
here in like
Treats was going
20,
really strong,
I
yeah.
think like 20, yeah, because I moved here in like 2018.
Yeah. And it's been starting to pick back up again, and I've been loving to see that. It's just like, sometimes I feel like when emotion takes a hit like that, it can take a little bit for it to kind of get. And that's kind of what happened with the hardcore scene because it really was taking kind of a back seat when the rap stuff was going on. And then
Really?
out of COVID, it really seemed like the hardcore stuff was coming back in
Yeah.
full
I
swing
feel
and
like
everything.
Brady's done a lot, like with 317 shows, like
Mm-hmm.
Brady's done a lot to like make that bigger because he's just such a big show organizer and people
Mm-hmm.
reach out to him.
And that's the thing is like it's paved the way for like a lot of people like like because he was kind of the main person doing a lot of shows for like a long period of time, but then you'll have like a lot of like other people like in the city kind of booking some stuff here.
Yeah, there's definitely quite a few other people, but Brady throws so many shows.
Oh yeah, definitely is like one of the big names I would associate with like
Yeah,
like
as far as here in
yeah,
India,
like that's definitely a place that you look for if you're looking for a heavy show to go on. It's
for
like
sure.
what 317 shows going like.
Yeah, specifically usually heavy shows.
I honestly, as far as like Instagram goes, I always refer people to two pages. 317 shows is like there's like a beeline straight to like the heavy music stuff.
Right.
But then Nat Town Now,
Oh yeah.
yeah, this ran by B.
For when they're people are trying to get booked or
Well, just
going to
to find
shows.
yeah, just to find
Oh
out
yeah,
where
yeah, yeah.
shows are
Yeah,
at.
Naptown Now is great for finding out various shows in indie,
Yeah.
especially if you're looking for like more diverse genres.
Mm-hmm.
It's right, yeah, ran by B.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was gonna say the
B's a
bar
sweetie.
runs the bar at Healer, does a lot of photography
Yeah, and
stuff.
Chatterbox. She works at Chatterbox
Oh,
too.
I didn't know that. Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I guess that makes sense because but I find out a lot about Chatterbox stuff from following that town now and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And as with the Matt from Pat Pissers, stuff like
Yeah,
that. So
Kaiser.
yeah, so there's a lot of like just cool intersect like that. I think and just definitely very. Yeah, there's a very varied list of things to do. Essentially, like if people are looking for where all the shows are going on, like
Yeah.
she keeps up with as many as
I
like
know. She makes
somebody
sure to
could
be like pretty
reasonably.
comprehensive.
Yeah, it's like, and that's the thing is like if she doesn't have something on there, it's like people can just send her, like a message, and she'll include it on the story, and people will be able to kind of check
Right.
out and like,
For
she does a
sure.
really solid job of promoting for people around the city, and I think that's a great resource for us to have. Like things like that are pretty much one of the reasons why I even bothered to make an Instagram after however long of not having one, just
So
so
you
I
can
would
keep
know.
up.
Yeah, so I
Yeah,
would know
yeah.
what's going on locally, basically.
For sure. I know. It is pretty hard to keep up because it's like, it's not like the 80s and 90s where people were posting flyers everywhere, like
Yeah,
physical flyers. Like, yeah, it's pretty hard to keep up with the scene if you're not online.
this is how we network now.
Unfortunately.
Yes, with all
Yeah.
this,
I know so many people hate it in social media, but like,
it's hard to skip over.
yeah,
You
for
just
sure.
gotta kind of gotta bite down on that shit sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. Um, but yeah, what do you like? What's your perception of like what DIY is? Like DIY music and DIY music communities, as opposed to like, I don't know, you feel like there's a difference between DIY and like general like local music, or
Yeah, because I mean, like it's kind of it's in the name, do it yourself. Like I feel like it's definitely it kind of invokes that ethos of just coming together organically, doing stuff from scratch, like
For
putting
sure.
together your own shows, like not trying to do what I call it a kind of like stadium arena syndrome. I feel like there's a
Yeah.
lot of people, when they don't have this kind of environment as like a jumping off point for like how to best go about shows in a
Like
very
they try to
tasteful
go
organization.
straight to like hi-fi or
Yeah,
something.
like I was like, oh, how are we? We gotta, hit up the promoters and do all the flyer stuff, and make sure that we, film our spot for everything. It's like you have like the mentality of like a cartoon character's idea. It's like, well, this is how we get big, big, big. This is how we get famous off of our big rock band. It's like, no, that's not how it works. Like you gotta like
Yeah.
actually, and when people talk about caring about the music, that's why things like this take off because it has people that actually
Right.
care about making it function like an actual like a well-oiled
Right.
machine, basically like all the parts moving in the right spot. And you have people that care about actually putting together the music, but they can do it with minimal resources,
Right.
and they
You're
can
just like, well,
get
let's go
people
get a
out to.
generator and bring it to a skate park,
Yeah,
you know?
that's every time somebody mentions something about that, I'm like, Sebastian just got a random
Yeah,
like shout out.
Sebastian is the
Like
generator.
Sebastian's the generator guy. Like any like just
Bless
yeah. I'll
Sebastian.
go on record of that. Any hardcore show that you have been to in the city of Indianapolis at a skate park,
That's
any
run by
place
a
like that is
generator.
ran by a generator is our bassist. Like so you're welcome on
Shouts
behalf of
out
Slur.
Sebastian.
It's just
Yeah.
like always he always loves that. Like but
I love skate park shows.
yeah, it's like, and that's an example of something that would be like DIY like that for sure.
For
It's got
sure.
that ethos of like we all just got together on a whim. We just
Right.
came through like it was just a random night. Word of mouth, getting all of those kids to show, and that's one of the best parts of that is just getting all those kids to show up there and like just turn up, turn out. Just actually have a good time with it. You got
Right.
people that have
Sometimes the bigger music community does, I mean, just like, yeah, the
yeah.
ones that you were talking about that are just like, we gotta get to the big stages, it does feel kind of gatekeepy. And like maybe even,
Yeah.
not everyone, but like kind of competition oriented, you know?
But it's like it's also cool to have that too because it's like you want there to be some kind of tangible level of like when you have friends like in these bands like some kind of level of success that they can get to like oh my
Right.
friends are playing at the hi-fi, oh that's crazy,
Yeah,
oh my
yeah.
friends are playing
For sure.
at the
I played the
Murat.
hi-fi once,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like and it's like it's cool like that too. It's
Right,
just
the
like
Murat. Yeah, we were just there a couple
yeah,
weeks ago. Were you at that show?
I think I might have been, yeah, I
I
might have
can't
been.
remember.
There's so many
With
that just
Pissers and Inner Peace?
yeah, yeah, I
Okay,
was at
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And because I think we might have ran into each other, but I don't
Maybe.
remember. But yeah, just like so many of them running together. But that's kind of the best part of it is like having that blend of like that's a good height to aspire to, but the ethos of DIY being that that's not the end all
That
be
you're just
all.
like willing to do it regardless of if you even get there,
Yeah,
you know?
like to do it like just in a big group of friends, and people have that
Yeah,
as like an outlet to network other things that they do themselves. Like
for
if they
sure.
make their own clothing, you can have like vendor shop
Yeah, it
spots for
encompasses so
that.
much more than that. Like just
Yeah,
even us like getting our artist friends involved to like help out with like, just like band art and designs and merch and
yeah,
whatever.
artwork.
Our
Reaching out
local
to friends for
screen
artwork.
printers.
Or even like somebody like me, like I do a lot of that stuff like just on my own. Like I said, like all my beats I make from scratch. Like all like I don't like I have like probably a couple people I'm friends with that I, may get some from collaborate with. Like Ian's
Mhm.
brother Evan. I met him a while back. I've known him for a long time. Collaborated with him on a lot of like the Draggin Knuckles stuff. Him and then another person from Indy. Outside of that, I don't go and buy beats off of people. You know what I mean? I
Yeah,
just
for
like
sure.
I'm gonna sit down and like figure out how I can like and I do a lot of it off my phone, but it's like if you just give me some pots and pans, I'll figure out how to make the motherfucker, you know what I mean? I'll
Yeah,
construct
totally.
some kind of beat from that
That's
and we'll
cool.
figure it out.
That's
Like
cool.
yeah, this is what
Yeah.
DIY is all about to
Right. And it's like,
us.
yeah, of course it's not like no, it's like people can't want to like get to that end goal of like be like plan a huge show, like
Yeah.
because that also sounds fun. It's just definitely a different vibe.
Hmm.
And like it's nice that people are able to start off on this small level scale,
Yeah.
even if you're like playing a show where you're playing to like 10 people, like
And it's cool to see people that are normally on like bigger levels of that be able to like cut back and like step down from that. Like I remember when I went to the Emerson, like I mean, it's a little bit questionable now, but like a Waka Flocka Flame hit came
oh right,
there
because
and
that used to be
stuff.
much more of a venue here, right?
Yeah, and it's still like big on a level of like, there would be big names that would come there like rappers and like metalcore bands, but like it's not big to them, like they're big used to like stadium stuff. So
Yeah,
when Waka Flocka came there and played there, he was like, I like this. This is like intimate. Like
that's
he
cool.
wanted to get a
I
wireless
didn't
mic so he could go
know.
out in the crowd, and then
Yeah, I didn't know
everybody.
artists like that would like play it. Just like I think I've been there one time for Little People Wrestling that they called by the other name that I don't feel comfortable saying.
How long ago was this?
This
Like,
was probably this is probably like it was like probably within a year after COVID started. Like
oh, okay, yeah, it's like a
no,
while
maybe
back.
it was like a little bit after that. Like people were like going out obviously at that point, but
Yeah,
yeah, that was, and I was just like, oh my god, this bathroom's disgusting.
yeah, it wasn't one of the best one I've ever been in. That's for sure. But it's funny. A lot of people that worked there when I was going there pretty regularly during like a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
rap stuff going on. A lot of them actually work at the Hi-Fi now.
That
So
worked
yeah.
at the Emerson.
So it's like a lot of the people that I met from there actually work at the Hi-Fi. So it's like a lot of cool people that still kind of from indie, even on those kind of bigger levels of shows and stuff like that, it's like still people from the city that, we may know intimately that like, work really hard on those shows and stuff. And that's still really cool to see too, because it could be
Yeah.
like with having big venues like that, it could be much further out of the hands of people like us,
Yeah,
and
for
just like,
sure.
big, grubby promoters and stuff like that, you know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
feel like even though we, internally in the city, we look at that as like the bigger kind of level, like it's still, definitely ran by people a lot like us, people that come to the shows that we put on too, a lot of the DIY stuff and house
For
shows
sure.
and basement shows and
Yeah.
things like that.
Ultimately, I just love the whole community aspect of it and like
Yeah.
just how cool and friendly and encouraging everyone is.
I love like coming out to shows and bars and just like even before I was
Yeah,
in
you're a big
Slur.
supporter of shows. You come out to I like love seeing you out at shows because I'm
Yeah.
like, hell yeah, Devin the hype man.
Yeah, no, I've loved like coming out and seeing like Pigmail Brains and Kai Hara a
Thank
lot.
you.
I remember like when I first caught you when you were doing Aerial Head Wound, like that was
Oh
like a
yeah,
while
that was
back.
a fun man.
Yeah, and like I just love like coming out and like even before I was in Slur and like even when it has nothing to do with like a show setting, just coming out and seeing all the same people, like seeing all you guys like
Yeah, at like
that.
some dive bar or something.
Yeah, exactly. Like just knowing that we all have this kind of mutual stomping ground in this, like
For
just
sure.
this ability to come together with this like kind of DIY atmosphere, this kind of music culture essentially. Like because even though there's times where I don't like talk to everybody, you know,
Yeah, it's impossible to.
yeah, we're all kind of doing our own thing. We're all in our own heads and, hanging out with our groups and this and that. But it's like moments when, you get a chance to actually, talk with somebody in depth and, have a little, one on one kind of like, oh, you're into this. Oh, that's cool. Like,
Yeah, for sure. The in
yeah,
between sets, like that downtime where you go smoke a cigarette or just go talk to the people at shows that you know. Yeah, it's cool.
exactly. It kind of helps like build that community a little bit better. You know what I mean?
I love my time between sets. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like I've said this like on TikTok before, but like when there's like only like 10 minutes between sets, I'm like, oh man, can't we just like chill?
Just like have a little bit more time to just like
Yeah,
interact,
it's like half like I'm here to see the. God damn it, it did it again.
Does it like pause it when it does that?
Yeah, it like did that last time. What were we saying?
Um.
Oh, the time between sets.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, because like I love going out and seeing the bands at shows, but but like also a huge reason of why like coming out is the community and getting to
Seeing
interact with
friends, yeah.
everybody.
That's a
Yeah.
big reason why I like, I talked
And
about
if you
coming
don't
all the
have
way from
friends,
Lebanon.
make them. If it's new to you, come out
Yeah.
and you'll make friends.
But hey,
Talk
that's
to
the
people.
thing is that like I understand like social anxiety stuff too because I get like that a lot. Like even me doing this, big step, kind of
Really?
thing. So it's
Well,
like,
thanks for coming out.
yeah, no, it's like I'm glad that you had me as the inaugural guest on this thing. Like I said, I don't really get to do things like this very often, so it was really cool and like it gives me kind of that ability to kind of
Yeah.
like break, test the waters, like break the ice a little bit on that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I feel like it's like mutually beneficial. I think it's
Yeah,
a fun thing to do, and I think it's cool for the community to be able to like just
yeah,
get stories and insights that they may not have like known otherwise, and just
yeah,
like even like from the comfort of their own home. I didn't know like so much of this about your backstory too. Like that's
yeah.
also
So
like something I'm looking forward to doing this through like all the interviews with people is just
kind of being able to uncover more stuff.
yeah, and
Yeah,
everyone's different. Everyone got involved in a different way,
yeah.
you know.
There's a lot of people that don't know about like the band that I was in like back, growing up and stuff like that.
Yeah, I didn't. You've been in the scene for what, like 15 years or something crazy?
I mean, it feels like that,
And it was just
honestly.
Indianapolis, right? You never lived a different place
Nah,
besides Lebanon.
I mean, like in Bloomington for like a semester. I feel like after COVID, like when people started coming back out, that's when stuff really, and like a lot of the Muncie kids too also came up. Came to Indy, like a lot of like the people from like Pat.
Right, Pat and the Pisters, yeah,
Yeah,
started in
a
Muncie.
lot of Muncie people.
They've been
Yeah.
going on for a long time
Hmm.
now.
Yeah.
It's really cool to see the bands that have lasted that long.
Yeah, being able to like actually have that longevity and something like this and like
Yeah, I love
actually,
Pisters.
yeah, I love seeing it like pay off like to this level. And they always put on a really fun set. I always talk to
They're
all the
such nice dudes too. Like I love Pat and the
I
Pisters.
still always have the funniest story about they have another project called Super Cheap where it's
Oh my
so,
god, did you see
yeah.
they booked another show, I think?
Hmm.
Because that's what Jake Kelly, right?
Yeah,
Jake
Jake
Kelly who's
Kelly's in
oh
it. And
Jake's not in an inner piece anymore, I was about to say.
yeah, and it's funny because they were playing that when Long Shot was still open, and Beckman was juggling with a chef hat on, juggling beers, like juggling closed
At Long
cans of
Shot
beer.
once?
Yeah, it was standing on a chair with a chef hat
Was
on.
that their last show?
I think it might have been the last time they played. Yeah, and he was standing on a chair juggling like full like unopened beers, like
Uh-huh.
with a chef hat on. I was taking a video of it because I was so entranced by that. So I was like, I didn't know he had juggling skills like that. It's like dude's cutting it, right? And I was like. And then in the video, you just see him like after juggling it, like lob him out to the crowd. You see it go up like that, and then you see my video just go like that.
Oh
I
my
took
god, I want that bit. You
took
should
it,
send it to me. I should put it
yeah,
on the end of this.
I took it
Or
right to
maybe do like a B-roll or something. I don't know.
right to the dome, and there's an imprint of a beer can, the like goose egg kind of thing that you get on the forehead. It was like that, but with the tab,
How
like the
long
pull
ago was
tab.
this?
This was maybe either a year and a half ago or 2 years
I
ago,
can't
something like that.
remember
It
if
was,
I
I
was
felt like
at
a
that
little while
show.
ago.
Yeah, Beckman is such a good front man.
Yeah, he felt so bad about that too. He's like, oh man, like it's like just a big goose egg like that, just shaped like the pull tab,
That's
like
so
the beer
funny.
can. Like he was like, man, I feel so bad. Like, but now we just like laugh about it every time that I see
Yeah.
them, and they just always like put on a really electric performance. I
Yeah,
feel
they
like
do.
that's a band I always recommend to people
Pat and the Pissers.
if they really want to get into hardcore for the first time. Yeah, because like
Yeah, they are very like yeah, they're
they're good for like moshing, but they're good if you just kind of want to like dance too and just see like a good energetic like rock show that still is
right.
like they're a good like between worlds kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I
Like
feel
that.
like Kaiser and like or no, I don't even know. I oh man, I don't even know what their songwriting process is, honestly,
Hmm.
if it's mostly like Beckman starting the songs or if like I mean I know Kaiser and Kilmer also have a big like input in it. I don't know, I should ask. But
Yeah, they
what was I gonna
definitely.
say?
I mean, they definitely
Oh
seem like they get together like very well with their chemistry. Just it's like
right, like and
unmatched.
where they're going.
And how Beckman's able to like take it to that next level with like all the fucking stunts like walking across tables and all this kind of stuff that he does when he performs. That's always like really cool to see. It's
Yeah.
just like yeah, they really care about performing with it, and that's like whenever I show people, there'd be a lot of people that aren't exposed to hardcore at all, they may see like Wall of Death footage and they're like, "What is all that? What are those kids doing?" Like they don't understand it, because they're not like in it. I have to explain to a lot of people about like
Like
hardcore.
the culture.
Yeah, like it's like especially like mosh pits and like what is all that about? A lot of the ways that I put it most of the time, it's kind of like it's like roughhousing. Like if you had like younger cousins or something you'd play fight with back in the day, mixed with like the same kind of ethos as like breakdancing, like
It's
capoeira.
some kind of, I know, I feel like some people hear about it and they're like, yeah, the
Yeah.
point's to like beat each other up, but it's not.
Yeah. Like
It's
if you ever
not.
see like Brazilian capoeira, like
People
that's like
do get hurt
yeah.
sometimes,
It's
but
more that's
it's
like more
accidental.
yeah, it's more on the roughhousing side with that,
Yeah.
exactly. But then like there's like an art to it, like with the moves. Like whenever you look at like capoeira, like the old it's like Brazilian like martial art, like fight dancing basically. Like
Yeah.
it's like choreographed like a fight, but they're just like they're not like really trying to hit each other. So you take that,
Yeah.
but then maybe there's a little bit of it where you kind of get a little bit of that going
Yeah. And
on.
there's
But
different
it's all in
types too,
fun. Yeah,
right? Like
there's
the whole,
there's
some
definitely an
people
art to it.
argue about the types, the different
Yeah,
types of moshing.
there's a lot of that that goes on. But all in all, I mean, it's like for people that they're not exposed to it. But then if you just kind of frame it the right, like it's unmatched, like being able to go to a show and having somebody know all like the crowd know all the words. And like it's one thing being in a
Yeah.
big crowd like for like a stadium rock show or whatever and having everybody in the crowd chant the lyrics like standing in their spot like, oh, it's hundreds of thousands of people chanting.
Yeah.
But when it's just like 50 people clambering over each other to like get to the mic and all shouting out, so there's just so much passion in it
Yeah.
that is just completely unrivaled by anything
Yeah, I
else
think what I love
culturally.
like
There's
so
nothing
much
else like
about
it.
hardcore shows is just the pace of it, like how fast it is, and then people play for like, like 15 minutes, and it's like so fast and it's done. And I just like
Yeah.
love that about it. It's like it
It's
really gets your adrenaline going.
like it's very head rushy, like it's like very
Yeah,
up and go,
I
that's
love fast shows.
exactly like it's like one of the beautiful things about it. It's like you can pack so much energy in just such a short amount of time. Like
Yeah, for sure. Okay, okay. We'll probably wrap this up soon because like we're trying to go to a show.
yeah, this has been
Trying to go
going
to
for a while.
shows.
Yeah, this has been good
Yeah,
to like have
but
this though. Like
yeah, but I guess the last thing is just like, have you like been on many tours like with your band? Has Slur ever toured or like had little runs or anything?
we've had a like one little run so far, kind of like a little
Like a
Midwest thing.
3 day thing or longer?
Probably maybe just under a week. It might have been like
Okay,
5 days or
that's
something.
decent. People call that tour around here.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was like a little mini tour. Like we
Yeah.
went to South Bend at the Krishna Den. So that's kind of like it was kind of like a small basement kind of show, but I guess a lot of people are really like in the hardcore scene of like, they've put on for a lot of that kind of stuff. So it's like some respect right there for sure. And then we did Chicago, I think at the Subterranean,
Oh, cool.
Grand Rapids, and then I think Cleveland and either Columbus or Cincinnati. It was just definitely like Midwest.
Cool.
Played Tennessee a couple times, but yeah, definitely coming up this year, we want to kind of start making
Yeah.
that, like do a couple more of those.
Yeah, yeah, I want to do more of those too. Like Kaya Hare's never really like toured that much or even done like a little run really much.
I was gonna say this kind of surprised me because it definitely seems like
Yeah.
you guys have some motion
I
like
don't
that
know.
for
Like
sure.
who like organized that for y'all? Did someone reach out or did one of y'all?
I think most of it is Anthony and Sebastian because they have a
Yeah.
lot of experience from being in.
Right, connections for just from being around for a while.
Yeah, like I mean, that's the thing is like me and Ian have been in other bands, yes, but as far as like to the level of like really pulling on some like DIY, like getting shows together, getting tours together, like um,
Asking people if like for let's say where
yeah,
you can book a show in their city or whatever.
yeah, Anthony has like a whole rich history of being in like multiple different like bands and solo
Yeah.
projects, and then Sebastian also has like CML is so they have like a lot of hardcore
Yeah, and the
influence.
hardcore community is pretty tight too, so
They honestly both kind of team up and come together on a lot of that stuff. Like they pretty much like Anthony and Sebastian are pretty much who run the Slur page and like take care of
yeah.
all that kind of stuff. So it's a a lot of them doing the heavy lifting on that
Yeah,
stuff.
there's a lot of managerial work behind bands that
Mhm.
I've kind of talked about, but I just don't feel like people even realize everything that comes with it.
I just show up and I just write the drum parts real good. I'm just like, thanks for having
It's a
me
nice
here,
place to
boss.
be in.
Yeah. They're
Yeah.
like, Devin, this is just as much your band too. I was like, maybe just for safety reasons, you should not say
Yeah, I'm not really that good
that.
at it. I'll probably mess it up, so
Right, yeah.
I'm
Just
just kidding.
you gotta kind of downplay yourself a little bit, it's tasteful, it's a balance.
Yeah.
No, yeah, it's been a lot of fun, honestly. I've been looking forward to what we got coming up.
Cool. Yeah, me too. When's your
Lot
next show?
The next one I believe is January 4th.
Oh,
Oh,
really?
I think it's
Where is it?
I want to say it's at the Melody Inn with
Really?
Patron Saints of Violence.
Have y'all played there before?
I don't think so.
I've never played the Mel.
A couple of Anthony's other bands have played it. It's like I have like kind of split thoughts on it sometimes, but I mean definitely still excited to see what comes of that, but definitely more shows coming up for Slur, and then I've got stuff of my own coming out like
Oh, your rap stuff?
just
Have you released much of it? I haven't looked into it.
I mean I've got one tape out. There was one I was kind
So
of
like
like
on Bandcamp?
yeah, it's just like there's another one.
Draggin Knuckles.
Same. It's up there. Like I just have one I've been kind of sitting on that I was gonna put it out the year the pandemic started, and then that kind of messed things up, and kind of my whole trajectory got kind of thrown off from a lot of that.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
definitely getting some videos out to kind of like actually have a rollout that I
Push
care
it.
about. Yeah, I want to
Yeah.
actually like show that I care about that stuff and that it's not just kind of stuff I flung together in the bedroom. So kind of I guess I feel like getting a couple of videos for
Cool.
that
Do you want to
helps.
perform that stuff live?
Oh yeah, I'm definitely
Hell
trying to get
yeah.
some more
That's
shows
awesome.
coming up this year.
That's awesome. I look forward to it.
Yeah, for sure. More Slur stuff, more DK stuff,
Hell
more
yeah.
anything. Just I'm trying to cook with as many people as possible. I'm trying to do more things like this. So.
Well, if people want to connect with you, your bands, where should they go online on social
Um,
media?
so for me directly, I'm just at Draggin Knuckles. It's pretty
Dragon
much
IN,
everything.
no G.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, no, GON. People think it's the animal, like
Or the
all the time.
Oh, not dragon like the animal.
Like yeah, like the
Yes.
act of doing it.
Dragon,
Yeah,
like dragging, but without the G.
yeah, exactly.
At
You got it.
Draggin Knuckles.
And then for Slur, it's just I think we
Is
had
it
to.
Slur with 2 R's and then 317?
Yeah, because we had to do 2 on there because of Instagram being stupid, but
Who is Slur with 1 R 317?
yeah, no, that's a weird question, and I don't even know if there
Yeah,
is.
who is?
I don't even know if there's probably somebody. They might be kind of racist, honestly. Like
Yeah, exactly.
So we should find that person and like figure out what's going on with that. It's like we should definitely try to like take control back from that like account.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, well, thanks so much for coming on
no, yeah, thank
my
you so
podcast,
much.
Local Music Shapes Culture. Again, I'm Alison Christoff, and the primary place I'm posting these is Substack. But so find me, subscribe on Substack, but also this is available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Music, and maybe some others once I figure that out. So, yeah, give us follows if you're interested, and thanks for coming out to the internet.